The gym is probably most people's least motivating where they want to hear because after a whole days of work, you finish and now you think of a physically demanding task for you to do, and you're already empty, and you're pretty much at the last. And when you think about how you want to recover so that you can go back to your next day, you're probably not thinking of the gym. There's so many other responsibilities of life that are pulling at you, whether it's family, bills, resting, eating, but the gym usually doesn't fall on that list. And it was the same thing for me too. Listen, when I was trying to lose 40 pounds, 30, 40 pounds, I found myself at 265 pounds. Sheesh, I was a big beluga whale. I was involving myself in cornball activity. That is the truth. I was falling into a lot of lust because I just didn't have any self-control. I found myself dating women outside of church just for the sake of it being more fun and having more freedom of my decisions, not being judged for them, not being held accountable because there was nobody there to do so. And it was just like my free reign. But like any other sin, once you have one, you're gonna find and spot others, because that lust wasn't just sexual. It was definitely greed. It was definitely my lack of self-control. Because why was I eating as much as I was? I do not know. I had no business eating 2 bagels and cream cheese with lox and bacon in the morning. I had absolutely no business bringing food from home and still eating out for lunch. And then when I got home around 6 or 7, plowing something down even more. But the reality was, what I didn't realize at the time is I was addicted to food. I actually used it as a coping mechanism. It was something that made me feel safe and comforted after a long day. True say, you come home and all of life almost feels like it crashes on you once you get back. And the only thing that you can think to make better, the only thing you can think of is food. Man, if I could just have this 12 piece, it's gonna be super crunchy, it's gonna hit, it's gonna do exactly what it needs to do. And the funny part is, every time I would indulge and find myself knee deep, man, I would say elbow deep in a seafood boil, extra Cajun potatoes, corn, give me extra boiled eggs because I need the protein, lying to myself, of course, trying to make myself feel better. And I was done. Those 15, 20 minutes, once they go by, you're still stuck with the same reality. And that's like any vice. But with food, here's the kicker, it can hide because it's just like anything else. So you don't even have a proper view of yourself because you're so drained. You have no energy, you're burnt out. And because you want to be consistent, you want to lock in, you find yourself in this continuous cycle of starting and stopping and starting and stopping. And it almost seems like you're never going to get out of it, because no matter what you try, you always end up in the same place. Because I did the keto, I did the intermittent fasting, and it does work. You'll see some good results. I saw myself lose 10 pounds in a month, but it never stayed off. It was never permanent. It was almost like a temporary band-aid, a fix that would never stay. And it wasn't until that I started identifying a root issue, like the real foundation, what was really going on under the hood, that something changed. And the truth of the matter is, you probably think you need a meal plan or a workout plan. Like, I had that. I had coaches, I had other athletes around me from school, people in my community, in my vicinity that was willing to help and put together a workout plan. I followed, and then eventually, you're super excited because it hits your hands. You get the workout plan, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna kill this. And then what? The motivation is gone. And then you get a nutrition plan. Oh, okay, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly how I need to eat. And then you fall off again. And it's this, thinking that you need information. And the more information you get, the less change you see. But real transformation starts with application. I said it real slow so you can understand. And if you did it, it's application. If you're not applying that information, it doesn't mean anything. Now, the $1 million question that we're gonna solve is, why aren't you applying it? You already know what to do, but you're not. And I know for me, even though I knew chicken breast was good, I knew fried foods wasn't good, I was compromising with myself. I was saying that I was eating pretty healthy, but I had no data or any stats to prove it. And That's where most of us live in between, compromising, lying to ourselves, and making a truth that makes enough sense, even though reality is giving us feedback, but that it's not working. If you kept putting your hand over a stove and you keep burning yourself, are you gonna keep convincing yourself that you're not being burnt? How could you look in the mirror or look down at the scale and be like, I eat pretty healthy, I don't know why it's working, when the feedback is telling you that you're not? You know what? Men lie, women lie, but the two things that will never lie to you are God and numbers. And now that you have those numbers, you don't have you have a gap, a huge gap, which is how much you're eating and how much you're moving. I know you already heard of calorie deficit, calories in, calories out. I'm not gonna waste your time. We're not gonna be talking about that. We're gonna talk about your discipline, because you want to be disciplined. However, you're not doing disciplined things to get there. And I'm gonna break it down a little bit more. To be able to do the thing, to do discipline, you have to become the person. You have to be disciplined. So how you do one thing is how you do all things. So if you're not tracking your food, for example, because it's so tedious, the deeper question is, why don't you feel like you're worth another minute of time to make sure how much food you're getting? Why is that such a tension point? Why do you always feel so rushed? Maybe you need to wake up earlier. Maybe you need to find that new routine for yourself. I can't answer that question for you, but you know why you don't feel like you're worth the time. It's literally a 2-minute process, putting a plate, hitting tear, resetting it, and then putting the food on. But you don't feel like that's worth your time, even though the results you're getting, you're not satisfied with. So why aren't you doing it? Because you know. And all their efforts are gonna just end up being trivial. I know for me, I found myself in a point where I was at a breaking point. I was like, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna go on these runs and go on these workouts and not see any results. Because I seen myself as an athlete. I knew that my body was able to like look pretty good, have some muscle, look pretty impressive, go on some dates and woo some women. But now it wasn't the case. It almost felt like I was stuck in a body. And what a bigger cope that I could have tried to accept, that I'm stuck in a body rather than I'm stuck in my ways and my habits. And I literally took $10, went on Amazon and bought a scale. Once that scale came in, I started measuring my food and knowing how many calories I needed, how much protein, carbs, and fats. I have never looked at food the same. Because yes, food can be healthy, but is it nutritious? Is it good for you? Is it for you specifically? Does it fit your numbers of what your body needs? Because without that information, you're just guessing. And in my same approach, when I was being so random, I was getting random results. But once I started getting detailed, I started fine-tuning things. I started getting more detailed results. And that's how you start to change how you show up in a consistent manner. Because you're trying to be intense. When you're trying to be so intense to the point where you get the results as soon as possible. For example, like I would do intermittent fasting, not eating for 20 hours every day, and then having a 4-hour window, eating one meal a day. Being so intense, it got me the results, but then it never stuck to my lifestyle. It never really was who I was. So once I stopped doing it, I stopped getting results, and then I went back to old habits because there was nothing to replace that with. And while you're trying to do more, you're never trying to be more. And that's where the identity piece of this is so crucial and foundational. And whether you want to suck your teeth or not hear it, it's really too bad, because you're gonna come up to the same place. The journey was always about who was making you. It was never about the destination. The destination is what just gets your eyes big. The thumbnail, the title, is all what gets your eyes big. But truth is, if you're not one to be putting in the work to become the new person, then it's all trivial. And that's exactly why I designed a system specifically how to do that. How to make a lifestyle of consistency and discipline without having to strive for a little bit, getting small results here and there, being confused or guesswork. And if you are someone who loves the Lord, who wants to honor God with their body, get better habits and become more consistent and disciplined and no longer struggle with food, then just DM me the word change and I'll send you my system and breakdown and see however way I can help.